Good evening. It was a major investigation into drug trafficking in Peel region. Police called it Project Winner.
Today, they showed off the results of that investigation, including $1 million worth of drugs meant for the streets. CTV's John Musselman is live outside Peel Regional Police Headquarters with more. John.
Well, Zoraida, this was work done by a special unit with Peel Regional Police that were working in certain neighborhoods, and that led to the results of this bust. More than $1 million worth of drugs were seized, including cocaine and fentanyl, all part of a police probe into drug trafficking in Brampton. Today, police and politicians, including Ontario Solicitor General, took part in a news conference at Peel Regional Police Headquarters.
Well, I think it's absolutely essential that the different levels of government work together with police services. I can speak to our government. Our government, led by the Premier, has been resolute, has been relentless in saying across the province that wherever you are, we're not going to let up. We're not going to take our foot off the gas pedal.
The investigation was conducted by the Peel Police CERT team. That stands for Community Intervention Response Team. Police received information from people in a Brampton neighborhood about numerous drug transactions. They executed 2 search warrants at addresses in Toronto and charged a 29-year-old man with drug trafficking and firearm-related offenses.
They're like a multi-tool team of roving officers that can descend upon these problems. And this started with a tip from a community member on drug trafficking.
22 CERT is very proud of this seizure because it directly reduces the harm that affects our communities, from overdoses and addiction to violence and crime that often come with drug trafficking.
Let's be clear, this is not just about drugs or guns, it's about saving lives. That's the consequence of this operation. Every gram of fentanyl taken out of circulation represents a potential overdose prevented.
Cash and a handgun with 1,000 rounds of ammunition were also seized as part of this investigation. And the accused man in this case remains in custody. Police say they do not anticipate any other arrests in connection with this case. Reporting live in Mississauga, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. The issue of encampments on the agenda at City Hall today.
Specifically, one councillor's call to have them removed from areas near playgrounds and schools within 48 hours of being reported. CTV's Natalie Johnson has the details.
Thursday morning, and it's 5-year-old Shina's chance to go for a swing before school. But her mom is now wary of this playground right next to their Danforth daycare because of the encampment that has formed here.
We have to cross the encampment. We don't know, again, how many needles are on the floor. We don't know who's smoking up. We don't know who's fighting there. Safety is an issue. And when children are playing here, we can't stop them.
Meanwhile, down in the beaches, as 4-year-old Brody enjoys playing in the park, his mom is feeling much the same, reassured that the encampment near her local playground has now been cleared.
I grew up, as a lot of us did, running around the playground, being free, being kids, and it's kind of sad that they don't feel safe enough to do that these days.
That's the theme in the story that repeats daily across the city of Toronto.
Toronto Councillor Brad Bradford pitching a plan to City Council today to make playgrounds, daycares and schools no-go zones for encampments, calling for staff to remove the tents within 48 hours of being reported.
There's nothing more important than the safety and protection of our kids, of our children, and our parks have to be safe and accessible for everybody.
They're no longer places for local kids to play. And I think a compassionate approach is to help these people and get them into places like shelter and programs such as treatment that they need.
Under the plan, encampment residents would still be connected with street outreach teams and offered shelter spaces, but all of this would happen within 48 hours.
The question is, does the city and the province together have the competency, the ability and the resources to address the homelessness crisis?
Under the city's current policy, the focus is on outreach and assistance. Clearing encampments is considered a last resort.
It's a problem that we're managing as well as we can within our resources, and just moving a motion saying, oh, there's a magic wand that can make homelessness disappear in your neighborhood, that's just dishonest politics.
As a parent, I would strongly advocate for encampments to be at least 200 meters away from any such buildings or places where children are playing. You can't stop children from being children.
Children whose playgrounds have in some cases been taken over by tents.
After a day of dealing with other business, council is now just getting started on this encampment debate. The question in the chamber is whether Bradford's colleagues will support him. We'll be here following the debate, and we'll bring you the latest tonight at 11:30. Reporting live at City Hall, I'm Natalie Johnson. Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Natalie. And still with City Council, the clock appears to have run out on a decades-old hockey arena. Just ahead, we'll tell you what councillors have decided should happen with the Weston Lions Arena and why not everyone thinks it's a win for the community.
But first, let's give you a live look outside right now. It was another gray, unsettled day today, but it's not dampening the festive spirit down at the Distillery District. That's where CTV's Lindsay Morrison is standing by, about to take in quite the light show, Linz.
Going through. And it's super cool and super funny. You'll see when it's lit up.
There's Zoraida, but we're about to see a few more, maybe 80,000 more lights that are going to be on this big Christmas tree behind me here at the Distillery Winter Village. It's such an exciting day to kick off really the holiday season here in the city of Toronto, and we're not far away from the kickoff now. There's a huge crowd here waiting to see this tree light up. Before that happens, let's take a look at your weather. Yeah, you know what? It's a little bit cool out here. I don't think anyone's too bothered. We've had some scattered rain showers and in some cases a few wet flurries as well. Here's what that looks like right now on the satellite and radar imagery. As we take a look at the winds, you'll notice that these are in fact lake effect rain showers and snowflakes also. The winds are coming out of the west. They're pretty gusty once again. Temperature-wise, it is 4 degrees, but it feels like -1, pardon me. It is a little bit damp and cool out here. Here's a look at what you can expect overnight tonight. Still the chance of a scattered shower or flurry here in the GTA. And we are live here at the Distillery Winter Village. Here's a live look. Santa is just about to get all the excitement going. We'll have more throughout the hour, but for now, Zoraida, I'm going to send it back inside to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. A 4-year-old boy is in hospital after a fire broke out in the basement of a house in Etobicoke last night. Police say crews were called to the scene near Kipling and Redwater Drive just before 10:30 p.m. The boy's injuries are considered serious but not life-threatening. Paramedics also say 2 adults were assessed at the scene. Roads in the area are closed. The Ontario Fire Marshal has been called in after a townhouse fire in Vaughan overnight. The fire broke out on Stonebriar Drive at about 3 a.m. Vaughan Fire says 2 people have been displaced from their home. They say flames started in the garage and caused structural and smoke damage. There's no word on a cause. Police say there were no injuries.
Still ahead tonight, parents and students of a school for young women with special needs are raising the alarm after another sign the future of the facility is in jeopardy. We'll tell you why they're worried the school might be closed for good.
But first, the Ford government is establishing what it calls student and family support offices at the 5 school boards it has taken over, with other boards expected to create offices by next year.
CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris has the details on what these offices will do and why some have concerns.
This is your father. They're being called student and family support offices. The thought behind them:
give students and parents easier access to information from the school board.
Everything from how to print a report card to more complex and contentious issues. The offices will be set up first at 5 boards under supervision, using existing staff who'd been working with trustees. Other boards will have to come up with a personnel plan to stand these offices up by next September.
It's window dressing when the real problems in schools are being ignored and not addressed. Class sizes, special education, mental health.
He's just sort of throwing something at the wall and seeing what's going to stick to try to address what has now been a massive gap in the system that he's created.
Parents have complained that in supervised boards, they can't get problems resolved, concerns heard. So these offices?
It would be helpful if it's with the guarantee that trustees are going to remain, and furthermore, just strengthen the role that trustees have.
Political critics believe these offices prove the Minister of Education intends to eliminate elected trustees.
I haven't brought any advice to Cabinet yet, Siobhan, honestly.
The plan is to map out what's next for school boards by the end of the year. Calandra says whether trustees are part of that or not,
these offices were going to be put in place. I was really, truly flabbergasted to learn that boards just were not monitoring. The trustees themselves were not monitoring the types of calls that they're getting.
This sideline TDSB trustee says at his board anyway, that's just not true.
Often superintendents and staff close the file before we feel things have been taken to the point where folks are satisfied.
Saying he was keeping tabs on hundreds of files. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
A cherished high school for the vulnerables could be one step closer to the chopping block tonight. Hayden Park Secondary School is the only school of its kind in the TDSB.
And as CTV's Beth McDonnell reports, students and parents keep fighting to keep it open.
Hayden Park Secondary School means everything to 15-year-old Sammy Teague.
I like gym class and science and math and cosmetology.
Cosmetology, yeah. And do you love your teachers?
Yeah.
Her mom, Grace Zellick, calls the school the TDSB's best kept secret, which is devoted to young women, transgender and non-binary students, and offers special education.
In fact, right now we're going through some stuff where Sammy, we're trying to get her back on her feet and out of this wheelchair. And I tell you, wouldn't happen in another school. They are supporting her, getting her in her walker here every day, cheering her on, giving her the support she needs to get in it and out safely.
Hands off, Hayden Park! Hands off! But according to Hayden Park Parent Council, it appears the school is moving closer and closer to being shuttered. It says it recently discovered the grade 8 open house for possible incoming students to learn about the school is no longer happening. A second blow since the summer when grade 9 enrollment was also canceled.
And then they made a reason that there's low numbers, so they have no grade 9. And that was totally inaccurate because there were a lot of families who really wanted to come.
And with the school seemingly not being phased out, they say they're not aware of a plan moving forward.
With 400 and something schools and spreading these kids out all over the place, they're not going to get the amount of support that they need. And my child was in regular stream right up until grade 4, and she was basically left behind.
In June, the TDSB told CTV no decision had been made about the school. The enrollment canceled after only 9 students applied. It said back then enrollment was declining because neighborhood schools were getting better at inclusionary practices. When it comes to special education, the Education Minister's office has said since 2018, Ontario has increased spending by 31%. CTV is waiting for a response from both on the future of Hayden Park. Teague knows what she wants decision makers to do. If they're thinking about closing it, should they close it?
No.
What should they do instead?
Keep it open.
Teague says she'd be very upset if Hayden Park had to close. Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
With legislation banning speed cameras taking effect tomorrow, the province is moving ahead with promised funds for alternative ways to slow down traffic. The Premier's office is pointing to polling from Abacus data that suggests half of Ontarians believe traffic calming measures are a better way than cameras to reduce speed. Today, the province said it was committing $210 million to support increased road safety in school zones and other areas. Transportation Minister Prabmeet Sarkaria said, quote, Ontario has some of the safest roads in North America, and our new Road Safety Initiatives Fund will build on this record by ensuring municipalities have the resources they need to implement proven traffic calming measures without making life more expensive for drivers. Well, it seems the days may be numbered for the Weston Lions Arena.
The city's approved replacing it with an MLSC facility that would not have a rink, and some in the community are not happy. CTV's Sean Leathong has more.
The final season inside a 75-year-old piece of hockey history and a lot of work for a minor hockey association trying to survive.
This is our home. This is, we can't be happy to be leaving our home of more than 70 years.
Weston Minor Hockey Association President Leslie Bannard works in an office surrounded by nostalgia, trying to find ice time for next season after council voted to terminate the lease with the Weston Lions Club and turn it over to Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment to create a launch pad, providing free community programs from kids to adults, but they're expected to remove the ice surface.
I think what MLSC Foundation does is amazing. I think what they're bringing to this community is going to be amazing, but at the same time, it's history. It's my life has been in this building. So yeah, we were blindsided by the initial thing that there would be no ice. That was really, really hard to take.
Weston Minor Hockey has been told they must apply for ice time elsewhere.
This city closed down a long-standing arena after 75 years. They didn't go through a planning process to determine whether or not they needed the ice. They just jumped at a financial opportunity.
Local councillor Francis Nunziata said in a statement that reads in part, children in the area face a lack of safe spaces and violence in the community, adding, I am convinced that having Launchpad in Weston will become a safe, positive space for our youth to develop, grow, and acquire life and employment skills. The arena is city-owned but run by the Weston Lions Club. Yesterday in council, Nunziata said there are more arenas in her ward than any other.
The Weston Lions commented on the motion that they were very much in support of MLSE Launchpad coming to the arena.
According to the chair of the Weston Lions Club, this is not blanket support. In a statement, Chair Sandy Ross said, while the Weston Lions Club is thrilled that our home will house MLSE Foundation's impressive programming and transformational opportunities for our community's youth, we're sad to lose our beloved arena and home to our major fundraising activity, the Weston Lions Arena Snack Bar. The snack bar at Weston Lions is known for their French fries and uses some of the proceeds to pay for kids to play hockey.
Councillor Nunziata said yesterday, as a single mom, she never got to put her kids through hockey. Well, here at Weston, we don't turn anybody away.
There are currently 120 kids enrolled in the Western Minor Hockey Association House League, their largest ever, with 55 in their Small Fries program introducing young kids to the game, even paying for equipment and registration when needed. As of now, Bannard says they haven't been assured of the proper ice times to run next season.
My fear is that we are going to have to fold into another league.
Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment did not comment for this story. The lease between the city and Weston Lions expires at the end of March 2026.
The Weston Lions Arena project will next move into community consultation, and based on that will be the beginnings of a design. So it will be some time before residents will get to see what will go in here. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
The Prime Minister has announced 6 major projects for fast tracking that includes mining in Ontario and New Brunswick and power in BC.
CTV senior political correspondent Mike Lecouture sets the scene for us on this second series of nation-building projects.
They are part of nation-building strategies to transform our economies.
The Prime Minister says the transformation is necessary because it's estimated U.S. tariffs and the accompanying uncertainty will cost the Canadian government $50 billion. It's why one of the projects supported by the federal government is a BC liquefied natural gas facility.
Silisms will become Canada's second largest LNG facility with a capacity to export 12 million tons of LNG every year to new markets.
In addition to that facility, the second round of projects includes a hydroelectric development project in Iqaluit, the Sisson Mine project in New Brunswick, the Crawford Nickel Mine project in northern Ontario, the North Coast Transmission Line in northwestern BC, and the Nouveau Monde Graphite Mine north of Montreal. All of them at various stages of development. And the head of the Major Projects Office says her role will be to speed up the process.
Our job is all about making sure that people get across the line, get everything they need to get built on time and on budget.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says the new federal office is part of the problem.
He's created yet another bureaucracy, a new bureaucratic hurdle for miners and oil and gas enterprises and other resource companies to jump through in order to get anything approved.
While the goal is to make Canada less reliant on trade with the U.S., some researchers say governments need to look beyond the current trade issues.
We need to think about what's going to happen with that land after mining's finished. What post-mining land uses could be secured there.
In addition to the 6 projects, the federal office will implement a strategy to improve infrastructure in an area between BC and Yukon, also known as the Northwest Critical Conservation Corridor. Mike Lecouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
In Ottawa, the head of Canada's spy service outlined the threats facing this country today.
I would say that Canada is not going to be shy, or at least CSIS isn't going to be shy to come public with information when it's in Canada's national interest to do that and when it's in our national security interests. But today I gave examples that were new and things that Canadians hadn't heard before.
CSIS Director Dan Rogers warns that spies from China and Russia have a significant interest in Canada's north. He says non-Arctic states such as China are looking to gain an economic and strategic foothold in the region, and points out that Russia, with a significant military presence in the Arctic, remains unpredictable and aggressive. The White House, meanwhile, is downplaying newly released private emails from convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's estate.
Among the 20,000 documents released in several exchanges, Epstein references his friend Donald Trump, casting new scrutiny on their relationship. CTV's Joy Malbin has more.
In newly released emails, convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein wrote a New York Times reporter in 2015, suggesting he might have dirt on Donald Trump. Would you like photos of Donald and girls in bikinis in my kitchen? And in 2019, when President Trump was running for re-election, Epstein wrote author Michael Wolff, alleging Trump knew about Epstein's criminal behavior. He wrote, of course he knew about the girls, and he asked Ghislaine to stop. Epstein also confirmed in an email the former Prince Andrew was photographed with one of Epstein's victims, the late Virginia Giuffre, contradicting Andrew's claim that he never met her.
Categorically, I don't remember meeting her at all.
President Trump has denied all allegations of wrongdoing, but his administration continues to push back against releasing the Justice Department's case files, FBI investigations, names, and the scope of Epstein's crimes. Abuse survivors pleading for the truth to come out.
Just rip the Band-Aid off all at once, give the public what they need, and give us what we need, which is transparency. The other survivors, my survivor sisters, they're not going away.
In Washington, the politics are shifting. More Republicans now are joining Democrats demanding full public disclosure of Epstein's crimes.
I would remind my colleagues that this vote is going to be on your record for longer than Trump is going to be president.
The pressure on this White House is not letting up. Democrats now have the numbers to force a vote next week that could lead to the full release of the Epstein files. Joy Malbin, CTV News, Washington.
One of the most spectacular examples of art and history is now on display. The Bible, this one was unveiled in the Italian Senate, where it will remain on display until January 16th. It was created between 1455 and 1461 and is considered one of the highest expressions of miniature art. The Italian Culture Ministry says it combines sacred value, historical relevance, precious materials, and refined aesthetics. The display is part of the Vatican's Holy Year celebrations.
Still to come tonight, a new plan by the province to help ease the overcrowding in hospitals. We'll tell you why some worry the high-intensity bundled home care program may be too ambitious to succeed.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, many people have put away their motorcycles for another season. Unfortunately, this year there was a major increase in motorcycle injuries and fatalities. And if you ride, you should know there are changes coming to some insurance coverage. I'll have that story. That's just ahead.
Well, it is the most wonderful time of the year here at the Distillery Winter Village. The tree has been lit, the tenors are on stage, and everyone's having a great time. Even though it is a little cool out here right now, here's a look at what you can expect tomorrow when it comes to daytime highs. We're near normal. How's that, considering we were so chilly earlier on this week? 8 degrees is about what we're forecasting, and it should be dry for your Friday. However, we've got another round of rain moving in for Saturday and for Sunday. We'll take you through a full look at your weekend forecast and beyond coming up live here on CTV News. We'll be right back.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Many people have already stored their motorcycles for the season. It's a pastime that's been increasing in popularity each year.
Unfortunately, it's also led to an increase in accidents and fatalities. And changes are coming to insurance, which could affect motorcycle riders most. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan. And Zrida, according to the OPP, motorcycle deaths reached a 20-year high last year with 57 fatalities in the province. Starting next July, there are changes coming to insurance, meaning drivers and riders have to opt in to make sure they have sufficient coverage. Brian and Debbie Haynes of McTier, north of Aurelia, love to ride their motorcycle.
I love just sitting on the back, and we go through the back ways and stuff.
We loved it. It was our way out. Yeah. It's freeing.
But this past July, their lives changed in an instant. During a ride in the country, they were struck by a car.
I woke up and looking around, and I looked right down at my foot because I I couldn't get up. I noticed right away that I didn't have a foot.
Both Brian and Debbie lost their lower left leg and foot.
So we're what you call the below-the-knee amputee.
You do feel that it's there. You have to kind of remind yourself and always touch and try to get your mind so you know it's not there.
The couple spent 2 months in hospital and recovery has been difficult. Fortunately, they had adequate insurance coverage to help them with treatment and therapy.
Now I look at life way differently.
Brian admits he wasn't really sure what kind of coverage he had until he needed it.
I kind of wanted the insurance for the bike, get on the bike and start riding, right? Let's go.
Starting in July of next year, changes are coming to the way insurance is sold in Ontario. Many benefits that were mandatory will now be optional. Nainish Kotek says motorcyclists who are most at risk will need to opt in to income replacement, death benefits, and other coverages.
I would encourage motorcyclists who are vulnerable members of the road to, in fact, make sure you purchase those benefits that are now being taken away.
Kotek says many accidents involving motorcyclists are not the rider's fault.
The majority of the time, in fact, the accidents with motorcyclists are due to inattentive motorists on the road.
As for Brian and Debbie, they're trying to stay positive and say the motorcycle community has reached out to them and been very supportive.
We don't want to take away from motorcycle riding. A lot of good people have come out of the woodwork that have talked to us and said, hey, we'll help you.
If you ride a motorcycle, it's advisable to check your coverage carefully in the spring. And if you're getting insurance after July of next year, ask questions to make sure you have the coverage you think you have. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
All right, let's talk about the forecast. It's, of course, it's feeling like 'tis the season, and we're seeing the evidence of that now.
Yeah, these dark days, I mean, it's a good thing the lights are starting to come up because that's certainly brightening things up. Down at the Distillery District, that's exactly what's going on. Lindsay Morrison is joining us there now live for the weather forecast. I guess we kind of need some cooler weather so we can ring in, you know, the holiday spirit down there.
It is fitting for this time of year, Nathan and Zoraida, so we will accept the fact that it is November and it is getting a little bit cooler. There were even a few flurries around here when the tree was lit just a few minutes ago. Okay, they may not have been real, but we do also have a few wet flurries in parts of southern Ontario as well. As I just mentioned, the tree was lit just moments ago. Here's what that looked like. The countdown happened. Santa Claus was on hand for the big reveal, and look at that. That is a 55-foot tree that came all the way from Drysdale's Farms in Mono Township, and it is adorned with 80,000 lights and more than 700 ornaments. I must say, it's really gorgeous, and everybody is enjoying it. They're taking photos and videos. Everyone's having a great time. Maybe you can hear we're enjoying some entertainment. The tenors are performing some beautiful Christmas carols, and there's lots of food and drink to enjoy as well. I helped myself to a few mini pancakes. Must say, Nathan and Zoraida, these are looking pretty good. I'm going to try my best to save one for you. But of course, we do have to talk about the weather and your forecast heading into the weekend. So let's get to it. We'll begin with a look at the satellite and radar. And I'm happy to say that for the most part, it has remained dry over us here in the GTA ahead of this tree lighting. All right, well, first take a look at the temperatures. And currently, it is 4 degrees in Toronto. A little milder in Windsor and still quite chilly in Ottawa. In fact, it feels like 0 or slightly below in many communities, thanks in part to the gusty winds we've been dealing with for a couple of days now. Forecast overnight low is going to be about 1 degree. That's near normal. In fact, everyone is pretty close to where we expect to be at this time of year for an overnight low. And then here's tomorrow, a little bit of a calmer day. Forecast daytime high of 8, which is seasonal, and varying amounts of sun and cloud are in the forecast. The winds, though, yes,
Yes, we've been dealing with these for some time now, predominantly coming out of the west. They are going to ease into tomorrow, and then look at how they strengthen into the day on Saturday. So once again, we are looking at wet and windy weather. But yes, it should be wet and not snowy because temperatures should be mild enough for us to experience rain as opposed to snow on Saturday. But as you can see on the satellite and radar imagery, some areas still dealing with some wet flakes at this hour. We're going to finally say goodbye to this lake effect pattern that we've been dealing with for a few days now as those winds start to ease. And so Friday should be a drier day for just about everyone. But here's the forecast radar. Again, this is going to help show the timing of the next round of rain's arrival. Not for Friday, but here's a look at Saturday. Morning starts off okay. By the afternoon, we're looking at widespread showers. And then into the evening, it looks like a round of rain will impact us also. Behind that, some gusty winds yet again out of the north, and maybe some lake effect showers or flurries to follow. It's not a whole lot of rain. In some cases, maybe 5 to 15 millimeters of it, but enough that you may want to be aware if you have Saturday evening plans and are going to be venturing out. Here is the 7-day forecast. So the weekend itself, temperature-wise, is mild. Look at 10 degrees on Saturday. We are going to cool down through the early part of next week, but we're also going to dry out, so it is a little bit of a trade-off. We are live here at the Distillery Winter Village. All right, these are too good to resist. I'm going to enjoy one. And in the meantime, Nathan and Zoraida, I'll send it back inside to you.
Looks good. Thank you, Lindsay. Enjoy. Also tonight, protecting those with the highest risk. Health Canada's approved a new respiratory virus vaccine, but does coverage need to be expanded? CTV News has learned Ontario is quietly launching a program that could move hundreds of patients from hospitals to their homes, cared for by private companies.
As CTV's John Woodward reports, it's meant to help reduce overcrowding in hospitals.
Dr. Amina Jabbar has a problem in her seniors internal medicine unit just outside Toronto.
You know, at the beginning of fall-ish, with a 30% rate of patients who just can't go home.
Can't leave the unit in the Trillium Health Partners Hospital, meaning there's no room for anyone new. A problem replicated across Ontario hospitals. Government figures say some 5,000 patients are in this situation, half of them waiting for long-term care beds that aren't opening up either. The Ontario government proposing to find a way to care for them at home, according to documents obtained by CTV News, the model called high-intensity bundled home care. A call for proposals for companies who can care for patients who meet a crisis designation, who have mental health or addictions issues, and who are awaiting rehab but can't get a rehab bed. At this stage, the ministry is planning for 570 weekly active patients across Ontario, 145 of those in Toronto. The government would pay a flat fee of $1,500 per week for people with mental health or addictions issues and $5,000 per week for anyone with higher medical needs. Critics worry there's already a worker shortage.
I hear from home care recipients all the time that it is very difficult to find workers. There are missed appointments. There are issues with, of course, the safety that comes with that.
The province's opposition is recalling problems with previous efforts at home care.
People going without catheters. We've all heard those nightmare stories. So I have some very deep concerns.
Dr. Jabbar, hopeful but skeptical it's enough.
It is the supports that we absolutely need at home. But frankly, it's a Band-Aid on a gaping wound.
There's a very short timeline here. The government is asking these companies to submit their proposals in a week with the expectation their service will be up and running in 4 weeks. The projected cost for the first tranche of patients is expected to be about $11 million. John Woodward, CTV News.
A growing number of people are filing complaints with Ontario's Patient Ombudsman's office. The annual report released today shows the office received nearly 4,900 complaints between April of 2024 and March 2025. That marked a 10% increase from the year before. Close to 60% of the grievances were about hospitals. The Ombudsman has the authority to carry out investigations and issue recommendations to healthcare organizations to deal with systemic issues. The report also highlighted challenges around communications with patients and a need to improve discharge protocols in emergency rooms. Ontario's health ministry says it expects every hospital and healthcare partner to uphold the highest standard of patient care. It also says every hospital is required by law to establish a patient relations process to address patient complaints. With respiratory virus season upon us, Health Canada has just approved the vaccine against RSV for a new group of Canadians.
But as our health reporter Pauline Chan tells us, they're still working on exactly who will be covered.
Jenna Ketty is 21, in university, and trying to live her best life while dealing with fibromyalgia and a rare form of arthritis.
You deal with a lot of stiffness and pain, and I am on a number of medications.
She's had several bouts of pneumonia over the years and even went into septic shock one time, and she worries about RSV every fall, so news of the expanded coverage for the Abrysvo vaccine is welcome.
It means a lot to folks like myself who, I live with immunocompromising conditions, so if I do get RSV, it's quite scary.
The Ontario government currently funds the vaccine for all adults aged 75 and older. The vaccine is also funded for all adults aged 60 and over who are living in a chronic care facility.
RSV immunizations are also covered for infants and pregnant women at 32 to 36 weeks gestation to protect their newborns. But Dr. Sean Edwards says the details of who will get coverage for the $240 shot in the 18 to 59 age group are unclear.
They may be getting cancer treatments. They may be on immunosuppressant drugs for chronic illnesses such as psoriasis. So at this point, we don't exactly know who in that 18 to 59 age category is best to immunize.
What he says is clear is that the vaccine can make a huge difference.
The vaccine was about 80% effect, 80 to 90% effective over 2 years at preventing hospitalization and critical illness such as ICU admission.
Right now, young adults with complex conditions like Jenna can talk with their doctor about getting a prescription for Abrysvo.
It's a somewhat nuanced discussion for younger adults, age 18 to 59, because we don't have specific NACI recommendations on this group yet. So it really would depend on the severity of their illness and the level of their immunosuppression.
It won't be covered by the province yet, but many private insurance plans will cover the cost. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
New documents show the Public Health Agency of Canada lost more than $20 million worth of pharmaceutical products from the national stockpile this year because of what it calls temperature deviation. Health Canada won't say what exactly was lost or how the temperature deviation happened, citing national security implications. The department only says it refers to pharmaceutical products such as vaccines held in the National Emergency Stockpile. The statement said the losses will not compromise the capacity to respond to public health events.
Still ahead tonight, we'll check in with members of AFC Toronto as they prepare to head into the first ever Northern League Super Championship this weekend, taking on the Vancouver Rise.
Nervous investors sent the market sinking today. It was one of the worst days since April when all those tariffs were announced. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has more.
The company is launching Monday surprise premieres, so you get a cheaper ticket, but you also don't know what movie you're going to see. A movie ticket typically runs around $16, but on Mondays they will be $8.99. For that, moviegoers will get to see a new major release, but they won't find out which one until they take their seats. Cineplex is trying out new things to make money as it battles against streaming services. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up a fraction to 71.36. West Texas Intermediate crude is up to 61.01. Western Canadian Select is up.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
Preparations for next year's FIFA World Cup are ramping up as Toronto gets ready for its hosting duties. Today, government and FIFA representatives visited Humber Polytechnic's Lakeshore campus for the opening of the FIFA World Cup 2026 Volunteer Center. It'll be the base of operations for recruiting, training, and deploying around 3,000 volunteers to help keep World Cup events running smoothly next June and July.
To everybody who supplied, your excitement and pride shine right through. Volunteers will be at the heart of the FIFA World Cup. You'll be the first friendly face the visitors will see. You guide fans at venues and show off the very best of Toronto.
Before applications close, around 248,000 people put their names forward to help during the FIFA World Cup in Toronto. That's more than any of the 15 other host cities. And excitement is building for soccer fans in the city as AFC Toronto prepares for the Northern Super League Championship Saturday at BMO Field.
CTV's Alison Hurst has a preview of the game.
The winner of the Northern Super League Championship will be the first team to hoist the Diana B. Matheson Cup.
AFC Toronto, unfazed, relentless.
AFC Toronto's snowy win over Montreal launched them into the final.
We're making history here. It's history of women's soccer, women's sports in Canada.
Toronto finished atop the regular season standings at 16-6-3, 12 points ahead of the third-place Vancouver Rise, who they'll face in the final. Both head coaches sat down this morning to answer questions ahead of the match.
Vancouver has so many attacking threats. I think that's probably the best part of their team.
I'm very impressed about Hunter. Seeing a forward having that mindset of doing and timing the blindside runs, I think that's something that you work on for usually a long time with players to get that instinct.
Kaylee Hunter is a 17-year-old striker on the Toronto squad. Even her own coach says he sometimes forgets her age.
When she tells me she has to go to finish her homework, it reminds me.
The team split their 5-game regular season meetings with each finishing 2-2-1, so anticipation is mounting.
We've shown that we can compete all season. We've gotten better every single game, so we're just looking to continue that.
We're super excited. It's something we've waited all season for, so we just hope we can put on a good show for all the fans that are going to come out.
The league kicked off some 7 months ago in Vancouver, with the championship taking place at Toronto's BMO Field.
This was one of the most competitive leagues in the world, with 85% of matches within 2 goals or less. And there were a ton of goals. 2.6 per game, in fact, coming from 65 different players.
Officials say the inaugural season has been a success.
There was reporting out this year that the Damallsvenskan, the Swedish league, one of the best, most respected leagues in the world, been around since 1988. They had their highest year ever for revenues this year, 18 million euros. And that's after 37 years, and we've done that number in year 1.
The final kicks off at 2 on Saturday. Alison Hurst, CTV News.
The Toronto Maple Leafs will square off against Los Angeles at Scotiabank Arena tonight without 2 very important players. Austin Matthews is out with a lower body injury. Head coach Craig Berube said today the star centerman might miss about a week, but hopes he'll be back sooner. Leafs captain John Tavares left Tuesday's game against Boston in the second period after a hit from behind. But Berube says that was not the cause of the injury, which happened earlier in the game. Meanwhile, Anthony Stolarz is out day-to-day with an upper body issue. Toronto's #1 goaltender exited after the opening 20 minutes of Tuesday's game. Third-string netminder Dennis Hildeby will start against the Kings this evening. Center Scott Lawton was placed on injured reserve retroactive to Saturday after getting hit in the first 2 games against Boston. After the break, we'll take you to the Eaton Centre as they turn on their massive Christmas tree, and we'll head back live to the distillery as the Distillery Winter Village kicks off.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Finally tonight, the Christmas tree in the Distillery District isn't the only one that was lit tonight.
Over at the Eaton Centre, a tree more than twice as tall was also turned on for the season earlier this hour.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Lovely. The 114-foot tall tree features thousands of lights and will feature a light show hourly beginning at 1 p.m. each day. Shoppers will also have the opportunity to have their photos taken by a professional photographer from a unique vantage point. As in years past, there will also be an indoor snow show to go along with the light show. How can you not start feeling festive?
I know, so impressive, especially with that countdown. And the tree there, Lindsay, looked amazing.
It is gorgeous, Nathan and Zoraida. I must say we're all in the Christmas spirit now. It is beautiful. The tree is lit. I'm here with Rick, who is head elf at the Distillery Winter Village, and the tree has been lit, but this is just the beginning for folks to come on down and enjoy.
It is absolutely just the beginning. We are here right through till January the 5th. We're open every single day at 12 noon for the vendors. Come on down, check it out. And the amazing thing is you can find out all the information at thedistillerywintervillage.com about all our performances, the food vendors, the elves, when Santa will be here. You got to come check it out.
Fabulous. And Ian, you're with Habitat for Humanity. Tell us what's going to happen to this Christmas tree once it has fulfilled its Christmas destiny.
Yeah, and we've got Rick wearing a Habitat hard hat as well, because as you said, this is just the beginning. This tree will live on and take with it all this spirit we're feeling right now, the joy, the love, the memories, the generosity of the season, because the Distillery District has will donate this tree to Habitat. We're going to turn that into mulch and use that as landscaping in the communities we're building throughout the GTA. So everything we feel tonight will continue for years to come. That spirit will be manifested in communities, making homes possible for families here in the GTA. So fantastic partnership.
Thank you.
That is fabulous. We are feeling the spirit. We're also feeling a bit of a chill, but nobody's bothered. Here's one more look at your 7-day forecast. Not a bad looking 7-day forecast if you're hoping to come on down and kick off the holiday season. A hot chocolate goes nicely with this tree, wouldn't you say?
It really does. A hot chocolate, and we've got actually a hot chocolate in a coconut this year at our Pura Vida bar, so you got to go check that out.
That sounds fabulous. Nathan and Zoraida, I'll send it back inside to that warm studio.
Looks great. Thank you, Lindsay. And be sure to join Omar Sachedina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, and I'll have your next local newscast tonight at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and online at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thanks for watching. Have a good night. We'll see you at 11:30.